grew up in a town where fog wasn't weather. It was a warning. The old fisherman used to say, when the fog comes in thick enough to steal your echo, don't go looking for what doesn't come back. I didn't listen. None of us did. These are 3 true stories from people who walked into that gray and came out changed, or didn't come out at all. The Puget Sound ferries run on a schedule that hasn't changed since 1951. The MV Kaleetan leaves Seattle at 6:15 p.m., makes 6 stops, and reaches Bremerton by 7:40. I've taken that ferry 3,000 times. I know the crew by name. I know which seats have the best view of the Olympics on clear days. I know the exact pitch the engines make when we pass through the shipping lanes. I don't know what happened on October 14th. Not really. Not in any way that makes sense. It started normal. Tuesday. I was the only passenger in the forward observation deck, the big windows on the bow that let you watch the water churn beneath you. The weather report said clear skies. But by the time we passed Bainbridge Island, the fog had rolled in so thick I couldn't see the railing 10 feet away. Captain Mike came over the intercom. Folks, we've got some weather moving in faster than predicted. We're going to slow her down, take it careful. Shouldn't affect our arrival time. That was the last announcement for 40 minutes. I watched the fog press against the windows. It moved different than normal fog. Normal fog drifts. This stuff, it gathered. It pooled in corners of the glass like it was trying to find a way in. I remember thinking it looked heavy, dense, like you could scoop it. At 7:10, I realized we hadn't docked at any of the scheduled stops. No announcement, no slowing. Just the steady thrum of engines and that gray wall outside. I went to find a crew member. The interior corridors were empty, not just quiet, empty. The snack bar was closed, lights off. The information desk had a coffee cup sitting on it, still steaming. No one around. I checked my phone. No signal, not even searching. Just a blank bar where the carrier name should be. The time said 7:10. It had said 7:10 for 20 minutes. I found the bridge door. Locked. I knocked. No answer. I pressed my ear against the metal and heard voices. Multiple people, but not talking. Chanting. Low and rhythmic, like prayer. Like counting. I backed away, told myself it was a drill. Some Coast Guard inspection. But my hands were shaking. The fog was inside now. I don't know when it happened. I was walking back to my seat and I saw it. Tendrils of gray curling under the door to the vehicle deck. Not smoke. Smoke rises. This crawled. It moved against the air currents, against the vents, pooling on the floor, and then climbing the walls. I ran for the stern. The aft deck, outside air. I needed to see sky, water, anything real. The door was stuck. Not locked. Stuck. Like something was pressing against it from the other side. I put my shoulder into it. Once, twice. On the third try, it gave way. The eye. Fog swallowed me whole. It wasn't cold. That's what I remember most. Fog should be cold. This was neutral, room temperature, but it was heavy. Breathing it felt like drinking warm water. I could feel it in my lungs, coating my throat. I coughed and the sound didn't travel. It died 3 feet from my face. I couldn't see the deck. Couldn't see my hands when I held them up. I took 3 steps and had no idea if I was moving toward the railing or the center of the ship. The engines were still running. I could feel the vibration through my shoes, but the sound was muffled, distant, like the ferry was miles away and I was somewhere else entirely. I heard footsteps, heavy boots on metal, coming toward me. Hello? My voice fell flat. Captain? Anyone? The footsteps stopped, directly in front of me, close enough that I should have seen a shape, a shadow, anything. There was nothing. Just gray. You're early, a voice said. Male, old, accented in a way I couldn't place. Scandinavian maybe, or something older. The crossing isn't complete. You need to wait. Wait for what? Where is everyone? The ferry runs on old agreements. Older than the schedule. Older than the company. Some crossings take longer. Some passengers aren't meant to arrive. I felt something touch my arm, fingers, dry and cold, gripping my elbow. Go back inside. Sit down. Don't look out the windows again. Don't speak to anyone until you feel the bump of the dock. If you feel the bump. The hand released me. The footsteps retreated, not walking away, but fading. Like the sound was being unmade. I stumbled back inside. The interior was full of fog now. I couldn't see the ceiling. I felt my way along the wall, found my seat by memory, and sat down. I strapped myself in with the seatbelt, something I'd never done on a ferry before, and I closed my eyes. I don't know how long I sat there. Time didn't pass. It accumulated. I could feel my heart beating, but when I tried to count the beats, I lost track. I'd get to 30 and forget I'd started. Start over. Lose track again. At some point, I felt the engines change pitch. The familiar whine of reverse thrust. The shudder of docking. I opened my eyes. The fog was gone. Not cleared, gone. The windows showed a normal night. City lights, the Bremerton terminal. Passengers were standing up, collecting bags, talking on phones. A woman in a red coat walked past me, scrolling through Instagram. I checked my phone, 7:42 p.m. 2 minutes late, I found Captain Mike at the gangplank, shaking hands with regulars. I grabbed his arm. What happened to the fog? He looked at me blankly. What fog, sir? The fog. 30 minutes ago. We were surrounded. You made an announcement. Smooth sailing tonight, he said, smiling. Clear as glass once we left Elliott Bay. You feeling okay? I looked at the other passengers. No one was wet. No one was coughing. No one looked like they'd just walked through. Whatever I'd walked through. I went to my car in the vehicle deck, drove home, said nothing to my wife. She asked why I was pale. I said I was tired. That was 6 months ago. I haven't taken the ferry since. I drive around through Tacoma now. Adds an hour each way, but I don't care. I can't care. Last week I found something in my jacket pocket, the one I was wearing that night. I don't check that pocket often. Inside, wrapped in a piece of paper, yellowed with age, was a ferry ticket, not my ticket. This one was dated October 14th, 1951, the inaugural run of the MV Kaleetan. Passenger name, E. Halverson. On the back, in pencil so faint I could barely read it, don't look for them. They found the crossing. They're still crossing. Every night. Every fog. I still hear the engines sometimes. When I wake up at 3 a.m. When the weather report says clear skies, but I see gray gathering at the window. I hear that rhythm. That chant. And I feel fingers on my elbow, dry and cold, waiting for me to come back. Because I think I did arrive that night. I think I got off the ferry, but I don't think I was the only one who got off. And I don't think the one who walked into my house, who sleeps beside my wife, who answers to my name, I don't think that's me. I think I'm still on that ferry, still in that fog, still waiting for the bump of the dock that never comes. And the thing wearing my face, it's just waiting for the next crossing, the next fog, the next passenger who looks out the window at the wrong time. Don't take the ferry in October. Don't look at the fog. And if you hear footsteps when no one is there, don't answer. My grandfather left me 40 acres in coastal Oregon. I never met him. He was my mother's father, and she'd cut ties with him before I was born. Something about his ways and the things he believed. I didn't ask questions. I was 26, drowning in student debt, working a remote customer service job that paid $14 an hour. 40 acres sounded like salvation. The property was called Graymire. The name should have warned me. I drove up in March during the rainy season. The highway turned to county road, turned to gravel, turned to mud. My Honda Civic made it 3/4 of the way before I had to park and walk the last mile. The fog was so thick I could taste it, metallic, like blood and ocean salt mixed together. The house was Victorian, sagging, paint peeling in strips that looked like bandages coming off. A wound, but it was standing, and it was mine. I found the keys under a ceramic frog by the back door. Inside, the air was still. Not stale, still. like it had been waiting. The furniture was covered in white sheets that turned out to be old linen tablecloths, not dust covers. My grandfather had been specific about his preservation. I set up my laptop in what must have been his study. Dark wood, leather chair, a window that faced the tree line. I could work from here. I could save money. I could rebuild this place, sell it, do something with my life. The first week, I didn't see anyone. No neighbors, no mail delivery. The nearest town was 12 miles away, and I only went there once for groceries. The cashier looked at my address and stopped smiling. "Graymire," she said. "You're the new groundskeeper." I guess. I inherited it. She didn't respond. Just bagged my items in paper, no plastic, and handed them over without meeting my eyes. "Lock your doors after dark," she said. "Fog brings out the deer. They get confused. Walk right into porches. Break things." I thought she was warning me about property damage. I understand now she was warning me about something else. The second week, I found the shed. It was behind the house, half collapsed, hidden by blackberry bushes that had grown wild for decades. Inside, there were tools. Old tools, rusted but organized. Shovels, rakes, a scythe with a blade that still held an edge, and journals. Dozens of them, leather-bound, filled with my grandfather's handwriting. I brought them inside. Read them by firelight because the electricity was spotty and I hadn't figured out the generator. The first entries were from 1978. Normal stuff, weather reports, planting schedules, complaints about taxes. But by 1980, the tone shifted. The fog came early this year, September. It doesn't usually reach this far inland until November. It sits in the hollows. It doesn't burn off. I saw shapes in it yesterday, human-shaped, standing at the tree line, watching. October 3rd, the shapes are closer. They don't move when I look directly at them, only in peripheral vision. I tried to photograph them. The film came back blank, not overexposed, blank, like the fog eats light. October 15th, they spoke to me, not words, intentions. They want to be let in. They say they're cold. They've been walking so long. They need to rest. I told them no. I locked the doors. I don't sleep anymore. The entries continued for 40 years. My grandfather had been fighting something, holding a line. The last entry was dated 3 days before he died. They've found the boundary. The property line isn't enough anymore. I need a successor, someone to take the watch. The fog is hungry and patient. It will wait for me to die. It will wait for the new one to make mistakes. I pray my daughter never comes back. I pray she never sends her children. But blood calls to blood. The fog knows blood. I closed the journal, looked out the window. The fog was pressed against the glass, not outside, against, like it was leaning in. And in the reflection overlaying my own face, I saw shapes, standing behind me, human-shaped. Watching, I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the study with every light on, holding the scythe from the shed. It felt right in my hands, balanced, like it had been waiting for me too. At 3 a.m., I heard footsteps on the porch, heavy, slow, more than one set. They circled the house, paused at each window. I could see shadows moving behind the curtains, not cast by anything inside, but blocking the light from outside. A voice came through the keyhole, female, young. "Please, I'm lost. I was hiking. The fog. I can't find the road. Can I come?" "In? Just for a minute? I'm so cold. I almost opened the door." The voice sounded real, terrified, human. Then I remembered the journals. They want to be let in. "Go round back," I said. "There's a shed. You can wait there." Silence. Then laughter. Not one voice. Many. Layered. Like a crowd finding something. "Funny that wasn't a joke." "The old man tried that too," the voice said. "For 40 years. Do you think you can last 40 years? Do you think you can die in that chair, holding that blade, watching every window, every door, every shadow? We can wait. We have waited. We are very good at waiting." The footsteps retreated, but not far. I could still see shadows moving in the fog, circling, waiting for me to sleep, to slip, To forget. That was 4 months ago. I haven't left the property. I tried once in April when the fog cleared for 3 days. Drove to town. The same cashier was there. She looked at me. Really. Looked. And her face went pale. "You're changing," she said. "I can see it in your eyes. You're becoming the groundskeeper." What does that mean? It means you're not leaving. It means you'll die there, like he did, like the ones before him. It means the fog has found its watcher. I drove back. I don't know why. I could have kept going, gone to California, started over, but the fog was waiting at the property line, not on the road, just at the edge of my land. Sitting there, patient, and I understood. The 40 acres wasn't an inheritance. It was a duty, a boundary. My grandfather had held it for 40 years. Now it was my turn. I sleep in the study now. I keep the scythe close. I've learned the rhythms of the fog, when it presses close, when it retreats, when the shapes are just watching and when they're hungry. Last night, I looked in the mirror. My eyes are changing, gray around the edges, like the fog is leaking in. My posture is different, straighter, more rigid. I move like my grandfather did in the one photograph I found, like I'm bracing against a weight. The journals say the groundskeeper doesn't age normally. Time moves different inside the boundary. 40 years might be 80, might be 200. The fog keeps you alive to keep you watching. I don't know if I'm keeping the things out or keeping them in. I don't know if there are victims in the fog or just more watchers. I don't know anything except the weight of the scythe and the sound of footsteps on my porch every night, but I know this. When I die, the property will pass to someone else. Blood calls to blood. The fog knows blood. And if you're reading this, if you found this journal in the shed where I left it, don't come to Graymire. Don't answer the letter from the estate. Let the taxes go unpaid. Let it fall to the county, because I'm still here, watching, waiting, and I'm not alone. I was in the accident on Highway 101, October 23, 2019. Fog so thick the CHP closed the road 10 minutes after I crashed, but I was already in the ditch by then. My Subaru against a redwood. Airbag burned my arms, glass in my hair. I don't remember the impact. I remember the fog, pressing against the windshield like it wanted to get in, like it was curious. I woke up in the hospital 3 days later. Traumatic brain injury. The doctors were optimistic. Lucky to be alive. Full recovery expected. All the standard lines. My mother flew up from San Diego. My sister came from Portland. They told me I was confused, that I kept asking about the other car. There was no other car, my mother said. You went off the road, single vehicle. The fog. There was a car, I insisted. Headlights, coming toward me. I swerved to avoid it. The CHP report said no witnesses, no other vehicles, no skid marks from another car. Just mine. Straight into the tree. I let it go. Brain injuries. Mess with memory. I knew that. I accepted it. I went home to my apartment in Eureka. Back to work at the Forestry Service. Desk job, analyzing satellite imagery of timber harvests. Quiet, safe, boring. But things were wrong, not obviously wrong. Subtly. The coffee maker was on a different counter than I remembered. My books were organized by color, not subject. My closet had clothes I didn't recognize. Flannel shirts, work boots, a jacket with a patch I couldn't identify. Maybe you bought them and forgot, my sister said. TBI does that, short-term memory gaps. But I don't shop at thrift stores. I don't wear flannel. And the patch, a tree with a circle around it, words in Latin, meant nothing to me. I found the first photograph a week after coming home. In my desk drawer, at the office. A Polaroid of me standing in front of a cabin I didn't recognize, holding a chainsaw, smiling in a way I don't smile, teeth showing, eyes crinkled, genuinely. Happy, on the back, in my handwriting, first day. He doesn't suspect. The fog worked. I stared at it for an hour. I didn't write that. I don't know that cabin. I've never operated a chainsaw. I'm afraid of them. I showed my supervisor. He frowned. That's the old growth survey cabin, up past Oric. You've been there dozens of times. You helped build that deck. I've never been there. Sarah, you were just there last month, before the accident. You sent me the timber assessment. I checked my email. There it was. A report dated October 15th, 2019, 8 days before the bomb crash. Detailed analysis of old growth density. Photographs of me standing by trees, measuring diameters, smiling that same smile. I don't remember any of it. I drove to the cabin. I don't know why. Maybe to prove it wasn't real. Maybe because the fog in the photograph looked exactly like the fog from my accident. Thick, heavy, wrong. The cabin existed, locked, but I found a key under the same ceramic frog as my grandfather's house. I don't have a grandfather. He died before I was born. Inside, it smelled like me. My shampoo, my laundry detergent, my sweat. There were journals, my handwriting. Entries going back 2 years. Detailed accounts of a life I haven't lived. September 2018. The transition is complete. She doesn't remember the accident. She doesn't remember me. I wear her face and her history and her fears. The fog gave me this. The fog takes, but it also gives. I am Sarah now. I have been Sarah longer than she was. October 2019. She's waking up. The original. The hospital called. She's asking about another car. I need to be careful. I need to reinforce the narrative. The fog can only hide so much. The rest is up to me. I dropped the journal. My hands were shaking. This was insane. This was schizophrenia or dissociative disorder or some bizarre TBI symptom. I drove to the hospital, demanded to see my neurologist. Told him everything. The journals, the cabin, the photograph, the handwriting that wasn't mine but was. He listened, nodded, made notes. Sarah, he said carefully, you were in a coma for 3 days. Do you know what happens to the brain during a coma? Tell me. The boundaries blur, between self and not self, between memory and dream. Sometimes the mind creates narratives to fill gaps. Elaborate, detailed narratives. It can feel more real than reality. You're saying I wrote those journals? That I have some kind of split personality? I'm saying your brain is healing. It's trying to make sense of trauma. The fog, the accident, the isolation. These are powerful symbols. The other Sarah, the one in the journals, she's a manifestation of your fear. Fear that you're not yourself. Fear that something was taken from you. I wanted to believe him. I did believe him for a while. I went back to my apartment, threw out the unfamiliar clothes, rearranged the furniture to match my memory, took my medication, went to therapy. But I kept finding things. A driver's license in my glove compartment. Same photo as mine. Same name. Different number. Issued in 2017. I got my license in 2015. A second phone in my nightstand. Same model as mine. Same case. Different contacts. Different photos. Pictures of the cabin. Pictures of me, or someone who looks like me, doing things I don't do. Hiking, fishing, holding a rifle, a bank account I didn't open, statements showing deposits from the Forestry Service going back 3 years. I started working there in 2018, and the dreams. Every night, the same dream. I'm driving in fog. Headlights appear ahead. I swerve, I crash, but in the dream, I don't wake up in the hospital. I wake up in the cabin, and I'm watching myself, the other me, the one who smiles wrong, get out of the wreck, walk away, become me. Last Tuesday I found the video. It was on the second way. Phone, time-stamped October 23rd, 2019. 11:47 p.m., 3 hours after my accident. The video shows the crash site. My Subaru, wrapped around the tree. Emergency lights flashing. And a figure standing beside the car. Me. Or the other me. Wearing my jacket, my shoes, my face. I, leans into the camera. Smiles that wrong smile. Speaks in my voice. She's in the hospital now. Waking up, confused. She'll think she's the original. They always do. The fog makes them forget the transition, makes them think they're the victim, not the replacement. She touches the wreckage, caresses it. I was like her, once, driving in fog, swerving to avoid headlights, crashing, waking up in someone else's life. It took me years to understand. I'm not Sarah. I was never Sarah. I'm the fog. I'm what fills the space when the original leaves. And now she's me. And I'm her. And we'll both drive these roads forever, looking for the next accident, the next empty body, the next life to wear. The video ends. The timestamp continues for 3 more hours. Static, then another clip. The hospital, my room, me, the me in the bed, unconscious, bruised, breathing through a tube, and standing beside the bed, holding my hand, is me, the other me, the fog me. She leans down, whispers something. The audio is distorted, but I can make it out. Welcome back. Don't fight it. You'll forget soon. They always forget. And then you'll be me, and I'll be you, and we'll do it again. I don't know what I am anymore. I found my original driver's license yesterday, hidden in the cabin in a box labeled Evidence. Sarah Chen, born 1992, address in Sacramento. Emergency contact. Mother, Linda Chen. I called the number. A woman answered. I asked for Sarah. Sarah's right here, the woman said. She's visiting. Who's calling? I hung up. I'm sitting in my apartment now. The fog is rolling in off the bay. It's October again. Almost the anniversary. I can hear footsteps on the stairs. Heavy, familiar, coming to my door. I have 2 choices. Open it and accept whatever I am. Original, copy, fog-wearing skin. Or run, drive. Find fog thick enough to hide in, to lose myself in, to become someone else in. The footsteps have stopped outside my door. The handle is turning. I can see my reflection in the window. Gray around the edges. Smiling that wrong smile. I think I know which choice I'll make.